Your love didn't fail. Your spine did. You think she left because you weren't enough, because you didn't love her hard enough, or because some other man offered her more. That's the comforting lie you tell yourself to sleep at night. The truth is far more brutal. She didn't leave you. She simply outgrew you. She tested the fences of your reality, pushing a little here, a little there, and found no resistance. She found a void where a man should have been. A man with his own laws, his own territory, his own unshakable center of gravity. Instead, she found you, a walking apology, a man whose entire existence was a negotiation for her approval. And the human psyche, especially the female psyche, abhors a vacuum of power. It doesn't feel attraction for it, it feels contempt. You weren't her partner. You were her project, then her burden, and finally, her memory. Do you remember that night? The one you spent 2 weeks planning. The reservation at that place she mentioned once, months ago, a detail you clung to like a holy relic. You bought a new shirt. You imagined the look on her face. You constructed an entire fantasy around a simple dinner, because these small victories were the only territory you had left. And then, an hour before you were supposed to leave, the text came. So sorry, something came up with the girls. Rain check. It wasn't a question. It was a decree. What did you do? You replied, "No problem, have fun," with a smiling emoji while your stomach twisted into a knot of pure, acid humiliation. You sat there, in your new shirt, in your silent apartment, a king dethroned in a kingdom that never even existed. She didn't just cancel a date. She canceled your reality. She demonstrated, with effortless cruelty, that her whims weighed more than your entire world. It made her the sun, and she was burning you to ash just by being herself, while you orbited her, a dead rock, grateful for the warmth. The great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote that the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. But you weren't struggling against a tribe. You were struggling against the will of a single person to whom you had surrendered your own. You gave her the privilege of owning you, and she simply got bored with her property. This dynamic, this slow, agonizing erosion of self, is not an accident. It is a pattern, a death by 1,000 concessions. Every time you said whatever you want, every time you dropped your plans to accommodate hers, every time you swallowed your own opinion to avoid a conflict, you thought you were demonstrating love and flexibility. What you were actually demonstrating was a complete lack of self-worth. You were a mirror, reflecting only what she wanted to see, and eventually, she got tired of looking at herself. She wanted a mountain, an immovable object to test her own strength against, and you gave her a field of mud. This isn't about becoming an aggressive, domineering tyrant. That's the amateur's mistake. That's the brute force of a man who is just as insecure as you are, but wears a different mask. This is about becoming a sovereign, a man whose validation comes from within, whose no is as calm and final as the setting sun, and whose yes is a gift, not an obligation. It's about understanding the silent language of power that flows beneath every interaction. She has been speaking it fluently your entire relationship. You've just been deaf to it, smiling and nodding while she announced your surrender, over and over again. You have been playing a game without knowing the rules, and now you are losing. But the game is not over. The final humiliation, the one that is either coming for you or has already shattered you, is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the point of maximum pressure where a man either breaks completely or is forged into something new, something unbreakable. We are going to teach you how to be forged. We are going to show you how that single moment of utter defeat, that last-minute cancellation, that dismissive comment, was not a nail in your coffin, but the first spark in the furnace that will rebuild you, not as the man she wants, but as the man she cannot help but respect. And attraction, true, primal attraction, always follows the scent of respect. If this battlefield feels familiar, then you have found your command post. Subscribe to Dominio Psicologico, activate all notifications, and press the like button to declare that you are done being a pawn in someone else's game. This is not a channel for boys seeking validation. This is a war room for men who are ready to reclaim their internal throne. In the comments below, I demand you do two things. First, tell us what city and country you are fighting from. Second, describe the single moment you realized your power had been completely and utterly taken from you. Do not be ashamed of the wound. Share it. Today, we will expose it to the air, and by the end of this transmission, we will have turned that wound into armor. Your transformation begins now. Let us begin the autopsy. You have confessed the moment of your execution, the single instant you knew the throne was no longer yours. You have exposed the wound. Now, we will dissect it, layer by layer, with the cold, detached precision of a surgeon examining a terminal disease. There will be no comfort here. There will be no anesthesia. The truth is a scalpel, and it must cut away the diseased tissue of your self-deception before any healing can begin. You believe your downfall was a single, cataclysmic event, a final argument, a discovered betrayal, a dramatic exit. You are wrong. Your defeat was a campaign, a slow war of attrition fought over months, even years. It was a death by 1,000 concessions, and you were the one handing the enemy the knife every single time. This was not a murder. This was a suicide. One polite, accommodating, no problem at a time. The process begins in the most innocuous of places. It's called emotional concession. It doesn't feel like a surrender. It feels like being a good guy. It starts with the small things. Where do you want to eat? She asks. You have a preference, a place you've been wanting to try, but you sense a slight hesitation in her, a desire she won't voice. So you say the fatal words, "Whatever you want, I'm easy." You think you've scored a point. You think you've shown you're flexible, agreeable. What you have actually done is communicate a critical piece of intelligence to the opposing force. My desires are secondary to yours. My reality is negotiable. You have just given away your first inch of territory, and you did it for free. This pattern repeats. You have plans with your friends, a weekly ritual that is part of the architecture of your life outside of her. She calls at the last minute. I'm having a really bad day. Can you please just come over and watch a movie with me? The test has been issued. Your world, your commitments, your friendships, your personal time, versus her emotional whim of the moment. The correct answer, the answer of a sovereign man, is, I understand you're having a bad day, and I will call you the second I get home from my friend's house. Commitment to them is important. But that is not what you said. You called your friends, made an excuse, and broke a promise to men in order to placate the temporary feelings of a woman. You chose to be her emotional support animal, instead of the master of your own life. She tested, you yielded, she won. And in that moment, the seed of contempt was planted. She may have felt comforted that night, but a deeper, more primal part of her brain registered your weakness. It filed away the data. His spine is pliable. His frame can be broken. From emotional concession, we descend into the next circle of hell, the loss of control. Every time you conceded your preference, your time, your opinion, you weren't just giving up a small piece of the present. You were surrendering control over your future. Your life ceased to be a project of your own design and became a series of reactions to her agenda. Remember your hobbies? The guitar you were learning? The gym routine you were dedicated to? The business idea you were developing in your spare time? Where did they go? They were slowly, methodically dismantled, not by her direct command, but by your perpetual accommodation. Can you help me with this project? Meant your business plan was shelved. Let's just stay in tonight. Meant your gym session was skipped. Each instance seemed trivial, a minor sacrifice for the relationship. But in aggregate, you were allowing her to edit your life, to delete the paragraphs that defined you as an individual, until the only thing left was your role as her partner. The man with his own mission, his own purpose, slowly vanished. You became a function, not a person. You were the man who drove her to the airport, the man who fixed her laptop, the man who listened to her complain about her friends. Your identity was hollowed out and replaced with a list of services you provided to her. And the most brutal irony? She began to resent you for the very emptiness she helped create. She didn't want a butler. She wanted a king. But you had willingly handed her the keys to your kingdom, and she couldn't help but look down on a ruler who wouldn't even defend his own borders. This is the stage where her plans become the plans, and yours become that thing you do. The hierarchy is established. Her life is the main event. Yours is the footnote. This leads directly to the most pathetic and addictive phase, the hunt for validation. Having surrendered your internal sources of self-worth, your hobbies, your purpose, your very identity, you are now a beggar. You become completely dependent on her for your emotional sustenance. Her approval is the drug, and you are a desperate addict. A good morning text from her can make your day. Delayed response can send you into a spiral of anxiety. You start to measure your worth not by your own achievements or principles, but by the reflection you see in her eyes. You become a performer. You tell jokes you think she'll find funny. You feign interest in her vapid celebrity gossip. You agree with her political opinions even when they clash with your own. Your entire personality becomes a carefully constructed presentation designed to elicit a positive response from an audience of one. This is the moment when you truly lose yourself. You apologize for things that are not your fault. She's in a bad mood because of work and snaps at you. Instead of standing your ground and saying, "Do not speak to me that way," you ask, "I'm sorry, what did I do wrong?" When you apologized, you signed your surrender. You accepted the blame for her emotional state, validating her reality where she is a blameless victim, and you are the source of all problems. You thought you were de-escalating a conflict. What you were actually doing was teaching her that she could use her emotions as a weapon to control you, and that you would willingly fall on your own sword to make her feel better. The man who sources his validation externally is not a man. He is a ghost, a hollow shell waiting to be filled by the opinions of others, and she can see right through you. Once you are addicted to her validation, you are trapped in the prison of affective dependency. Your emotional state is now completely tethered to hers. If she is happy, you are granted a temporary reprieve, a moment of peace. If she is unhappy, your entire world is plunged into chaos. You begin to walk on eggshells. Filter your words, you hide your thoughts, you suppress your own feelings to avoid triggering her displeasure. The silence in the car is no longer peaceful. It's a terrifying void you rush to fill with meaningless chatter, hoping to gauge her mood. You live in a constant, low-grade state of fear. Fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of her disapproval, fear of the conflict that might erupt if you dare to assert a need or a boundary of your own. This is not a partnership. This is a hostage situation, and you are both the hostage and the one who locked the door from the inside. You think you are protecting the relationship, but you are embalming a corpse. The attraction she once felt is long dead. It cannot survive in an environment of fear and supplication. Primal attraction requires respect, and it is psychologically impossible for a woman to respect a man she can so easily dominate and control with her moods. Her silence is dominance, not inattention. In those quiet moments, she is not just being quiet. She is watching you squirm. She is enjoying the power she has to command your entire emotional state with her mere presence. She feels contempt for you, a deep, biological revulsion for your lack of a spine. You, in your desperate attempts to please her, only dig your own grave deeper. Final stage is the breaking of the silence. But it is not you who breaks it. It is her. It's when the contempt she has been feeling internally can no longer be contained. It begins to leak out. It's the sarcastic jab at your expense in front of your friends. "Oh, don't mind him, he'd agree with anything." It's the dismissive wave of her hand when you try to offer an opinion on a serious topic. It's the sigh of exasperation when you ask a simple question. It's the eye roll that she no longer bothers to hide. These are not random acts of cruelty. They are status displays. She is publicly and privately demonstrating your subordinate position in the hierarchy she has created. She is showing you, and the world, that your words have no weight, that your thoughts are an annoyance, and that your presence is a burden. She tested you, and you failed. You failed every test, at every stage. You failed the test of your time, the test of your opinions, the test of your boundaries, the test of your very identity. And this final open display of disrespect is your report card. It is her telling you without words, "You are not my equal. You are beneath me." By the time you notice these overt signs, the war has been over for a long time. These are not shots being fired. These are victory parades being held on the ruins of your sovereignty. You were so busy trying to keep the peace that you failed to realize you were the only one who wasn't at war. He was fighting for dominance from the very beginning, and you, in your naive pursuit of harmony, handed her a complete and unconditional surrender. Now, hear the objections rattling around in your skull. But I was just trying to be a good boyfriend. I thought compromise was key. You mistake compromise for capitulation. Compromise is when two sovereign nations meet at a negotiating table to discuss the terms of their border. Capitulation is when one nation tears down its own walls and invites the other to occupy its capital city. You were not compromising, you were ceding territory. Another objection. I was just avoiding unnecessary drama. I hate fighting. You were not avoiding drama. You were delaying the inevitable explosion by stuffing dynamite into the cracks of your foundation. You thought you were choosing peace. You were choosing a slow, silent, agonizing death. The peace you bought was a lie, a temporary ceasefire that cost you your self-respect. True peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the confidence of knowing you can handle conflict when it arises. It is the calm certainty of a man who knows where his borders are and is willing, without anger or apology, to defend them. You avoided the small, necessary battles over your time and your opinions, and in doing so, you guaranteed you would lose the war for respect. No one is coming to save you. You must save yourself. You must understand that the good guy persona you've adopted is a losing strategy. It is a camouflage for fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of her anger. Fear of not being liked. And she can smell that fear. It repulses her. This decay doesn't just happen in your romantic life. It's a cancer that metastasizes. Look at your friendships. Are you the one who always drives? The one who spots the bill and says, "Don't worry about it"? The one whose plans are always the first to be discarded if something better comes along? Look at your career. Are you the one who stays late, takes on the extra work without extra pay, and never speaks up in a meeting? Are you the one whose ideas are co-opted by others because you lack the conviction to claim them as your own? The pattern is the same. The disease is the same. It is a fundamental lack of self-respect that projects outwards, inviting the world to treat you as a doormat. You taught them how to treat you. You handed them the script, and they are simply playing the part you assigned them. The fall is invisible to everyone else. It happens in the silence, in the hesitation before you say yes when you mean no. It happens in the opinion you swallow, the joke you laugh at that you found offensive, the boundary you fail to enforce. Quiet internal collapse that precedes the loud external humiliation. If this autopsy of your own defeat makes your blood run cold with the shock of recognition, then you know this is not a theory. This is your biography. It's time to stop being the subject of the story and become the author. Subscribe to Dominio Psychologico, activate all notifications so you miss nothing, and press the like button as a declaration of war against the weakness that has held you captive. This is your first strategic move. This is you taking control. Now, I command you to answer this in the comments below. What is the one reasonable request you constantly agree to, from your partner, your boss, your friends, that makes a small part of your soul die every single time you say yes? Do not analyze it. Do not justify it. Just name it. Drag that monster into the light so we can all see it for what it is. Recognizing the anatomy of your failure is not the end. It is the beginning. The pain you feel right now is a gift. It is the pain of a bone being reset. It is the burning of a muscle being rebuilt. You had to see the precise architecture of the prison you built for yourself before you could ever hope to escape. You have seen how every brick of being nice and every bar of avoiding conflict created a cell of absolute misery. You now hold the blueprint of your own destruction. In our next transmission, we will begin to draft the blueprint of your resurrection. But make no mistake, the work is yours alone. The pain is yours to transmute into power. You have diagnosed the disease. Now, you must become the cure. There is no going back for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new. Let that truth sear itself into your mind. The man you were, the one who apologized for his own existence, the one who negotiated his reality for a scrap of her affection, is dead. You must not mourn him. You must not attempt to revive him. You must bury him and build a monument on his grave. This is not a process of emotional healing. This is a tactical reconstruction. It is cold. It is methodical. And it begins with 3 primary commands, 3 strategic directives that will form the foundation of your new sovereignty. These are not suggestions. They are orders. Your first command: cut the excess. This is the immediate and total reinstallation of scarcity. You will vanish from her life. This is not the petulant silence of a child who didn't get his way. This is the calculated disappearance of a valuable asset. You will not announce it. You will not send a final dramatic text. You will not block her on social media like a wounded teenager. You will simply cease to be available. Your energy, your attention, your time, the resources you gave away so freely, are now off the market. This abrupt withdrawal serves 2 strategic purposes. First, and most importantly, it is an intervention for your own addiction. You are addicted to her validation, and like any addict, you must go through a period of detoxification. Cutting off the supply, you force yourself to endure the agony of withdrawal, the desperate urge to check her social media, to text her, to seek any sign that she notices you are gone. You must endure this. In that crucible of silence, you will begin to find your own center of gravity again. The second purpose is to shatter her frame of control. Her entire operational model was based on your predictable availability. By removing it without explanation, you create a vacuum. You delete the variable she could always count on. Her reality, which was built on the foundation of your weakness, will begin to experience seismic shocks. She will not understand it. She may feel anger, confusion, even relief at first. It does not matter what she feels. Your objective is not to elicit a reaction from her. It is to remove yourself as a pawn from her board. A man who wants to be loved will be discarded. A man who imposes his presence will be respected, and sometimes even feared. Your absence right now is the most powerful presence you can impose. Your second command: install the silence. This is the operational phase of your disappearance. When she inevitably reaches out, and she will because a controller cannot stand to lose control, you will impose a silence so profound it becomes a weapon. This is where most men fail. They endure a few days of no contact, and the moment she sends a meaningless, "Hey, how are you's" text, they crumble with relief and send back a novel. You will not do this. You will see her text, you will register it, and you will do nothing. That single act of non-response is a greater power move than any eloquent speech you could ever deliver. Why? Because it communicates that you are no longer operating on her timeline. Her attempts to engage are now subject to your approval, not the other way around. Not responding is not passive. It is an active declaration of dominance. You are communicating that your attention is occupied by more important matters. You are teaching her, through the brutal efficiency of silence, that access to you is now a privilege, not a right. If interaction is absolutely unavoidable, a logistical issue, a shared responsibility, your communication will be minimal and unpredictable. Your responses will be short, factual, and devoid of emotion. They will solve the logistical problem and nothing more. Yes. No. Thursday at 5 p.m. You will be a gray rock. You will offer her no emotional surface to cling to, no drama to feed on, no anger to react to. You will become an enigma. And the human mind, especially a mind accustomed to total control, despises an enigma. Don't reconquer. Replace with a sharper silence. Be the absence that carries weight, not the presence that begs. Your third command: control the reaction, by which I mean control your reaction by focusing on your own hierarchy. This is the most crucial phase. The silence and scarcity you have created are not the end goal. They are merely the tools to create the space you need for the real work. While she is reeling from the vacuum you've created, you will be forging a new reality for yourself, one that has absolutely nothing to do with her. Your focus becomes total and relentless on the 4 pillars of masculine power. First, the physical. You will go to war with your body. You will be in the gym, lifting heavy, pushing past failure. You will sculpt your physique with the discipline of a master artist. You will fix your diet. You will throw out the junk that makes you weak and soft. You will stand taller, walk with purpose, and occupy space with the quiet confidence of a man who is physically formidable. This is not for her. This is for you. It is the physical manifestation of your newfound discipline. Second, the financial. You will go to war with your bank account. You will attack your work with a ferocity you haven't felt in years. You will seek promotions. You will start the side business you've been dreaming about. You will learn about investing. Money is a tool of freedom. It is the great neutralizer. It makes you less dependent on anyone for anything. It expands your options and solidifies your independence. Third, the social. You will go to war to reclaim your tribe. You will reconnect with the male friends you abandoned. You will build a circle of strong, ambitious men who hold you accountable. You will have a life, a vibrant, engaging social existence that she has no part in. You will demonstrate that your happiness and social validation are not tethered to a single person. Fourth, and finally, the symbolic. This is your mission, your purpose, the why that drives you beyond money, women, or status. The art you create, the business you build, the skill you master, the knowledge you acquire. This is the internal fire that makes you immune to the coldness of the outside world. This is what makes you a king in your own right, not because you have a queen, but because you have a kingdom. The great philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." Your why was her. That is why you could not bear the how of her disrespect. You must find a new why. A why so powerful that her presence or absence in your life becomes a footnote, not the headline. This entire process, the silence, the scarcity, the rebuilding, is not a strategy to get her back. Let me be clear. If that is your goal, you have already failed. This is a strategy to get you back. The irony is that in completely and authentically detaching from the outcome, in becoming the man who does not need her, you become the very man she cannot help but feel a primal, irresistible pull towards. But by the time that happens, it will be a matter of supreme indifference to you. Her renewed interest will be a byproduct of your mission, not the goal of it. This transformation is not a hope, it is a plan. It is an engineering project. You are dismantling a failed structure and building a fortress in its place. The foundation of this fortress is your unshakable self-respect. The battlefield of your life is now clear. The objectives have been set. The weak man is dead, and the new man is under construction. It is time to commit to the campaign. Subscribe to Dominio Psicologico. Activate all notifications to ensure you receive every strategic briefing, and press the like button as a salute to the man you are becoming. This is your declaration that you are no longer a civilian in the war for your own life. You are a soldier, and now I demand your battlefield report in the comments. Of the 4 pillars of power, the physical, the financial, the social, or your mission, which one have you sacrificed the most on the altar of her approval? Confess the territory you surrendered. Today, you are no longer surrendering territory. Today, you begin the invasion to take it back. The reconstruction is complete. The fortress stands where the ruins once lay. And now, not with anxiety, not with hope, but with the calm certainty of a general who has already calculated every possible move the enemy can make. The signal will come. It always does. The vacuum of your absence will eventually become unbearable to her. The silence you have weaponized will echo so loudly in her world that she will be forced just to see if you still exist. It will not be a simple text. It will be a calculated move, a probe designed to test your new defenses. It may be a nostalgic photo, a reference to an inside joke, or the most classic of maneuvers, an attempt to reopen a closed loop. I was just thinking about that night you had planned the dinner. I was terrible for canceling. I'd love to make it up to you. Are you free this week? And in that moment, the ghost of the old you will rise from its grave, begging you to reply. It will scream that this is your victory, your chance for redemption. It will urge you to accept, to finally have the moment you were so cruelly denied. You will command that ghost to be silent. You will look at her name on your screen, the name that once had the power to stop your heart and hijack your entire nervous system, and you will feel a profound and deafening calm. Not the silence of anger, the silence of irrelevance. You will wait. An hour? It does not matter. The timeline is now yours. And then you will reply with the cold, clean precision of a surgeon making a final incision. Your response will be polite, brief, and utterly dismissive. I appreciate the thought, but my schedule is fully committed for the foreseeable future. I wish you the best. There will be no explanation, no negotiation, no emotion. You will not offer an alternative time. You are not busy this week. You are fully committed. It is a statement of a new reality, a reality in which your time, your focus, and your energy are assets allocated to your mission, not commodities to be bid on by your past. This is not a rejection of her. It is a declaration of your own value. In that single, calm, and final message, you have done more than win an argument. You have demonstrated that the game she was playing is over, not because you flipped the board in anger, but because you simply walked away from the table to build your own empire. She was playing checkers. You are now playing chess, on a different board, in a different city, for stakes she cannot even comprehend. Her attempt to make it up to you was an attempt to regain control, to pull you back into her frame, where she holds the power of approval and denial. Your response did not engage with her frame. It informed her that her frame no longer exists in your world. This is the nature of true emotional revenge. The amateur seeks to make her feel the pain she made him feel. He wants her to cry, to beg, to regret. The master understands that this is still playing her game, still sourcing his validation from her emotional state. Ultimate revenge, the most dominant position, is to achieve a state of sublime indifference. It is not to make her suffer, but to make her suffering, her happiness, her regret, her very existence, a matter of complete and total irrelevance to your own state of being. Your victory is not her tears. Your victory is the peace you feel when you put your phone down after sending that text and immediately return your focus to your work, your workout, your mission, without a second thought. Your revenge is your success. Your revenge is your discipline. Your revenge is the life you build in the ashes of the man you were forced to burn. She becomes a ghost from a past life, a forgotten character in a story that is no longer about her. You must understand this. Respect is never given. It is never requested. It is imposed. It is imposed by the weight of your absence. It is imposed by the steel in your voice. It is imposed by the unwavering direction of your life's purpose. You did not become a man she respects by trying to please her. You became a man she is forced to respect by becoming utterly indifferent to her opinion while being completely committed to your own growth. She did not want a servant, she wanted a king. But when you finally built your own kingdom, you realized you had no need for a queen who only valued the throne after it was forged from. This journey was never about her. It was about that final humiliation, that canceled date, was not an act of her cruelty. It was a gift. It was the catalyst, the necessary pressure that either shatters a man or compresses him into a diamond. You chose to become the diamond. You chose to take the pain and alchemize it into power. You are not the man she left. You are the man she created through her own contempt. Now, she must live with the consequences of her creation. A man who is so far beyond her reach that he is nothing more than a distant star in a galaxy she can no longer enter. The power dynamic did not just flip, it was annihilated. You are the law. You are the prize. You are the source. The man who is afraid to lose her is the man who will always lose her. The man who is willing to walk away, to burn it all down and rebuild from nothing, is the man she can never truly leave, because he occupies a space in her mind, a permanent monument to the king she failed to recognize. If this is the man you are sworn to become, then finalize your enlistment. Subscribe to Dominio Psychologico and activate every notification, for this is your new command center. Press the like button as a final salute to the weak man you have left behind. In the comments below, answer one final question with a single word. As you stand on the ashes of your old self, what is the ultimate prize you have truly won? Power, freedom, or peace? Choose your victory. Your greatest revenge is not her regret, but your indifference to it.